It's time for the Dog and Pauly podcast on FingerLakes1.com, featuring Harold Webb Dog Weber and Paul Hellstrom.
It is Wednesday, August the 15th, 2012. What does August 15th mean? Well, for this area, it means tonight, the Clyde fireworks. Been that way forever. Good morning, everybody. We've got Bob Ohmann on the line. We're going to talk about the world of Newark Pilot baseball and a whole lot more. This is the Dog and
Pauly Show.
We welcome you on a Wednesday, a nice day, as the weather temperatures are going to decrease this weekend. And I don't know about Paul and Jimmy and Bob Ohmann, but I love low 70s, and it's supposed to be like low 70s for the weekend. Absolutely perfect weather. We welcome you to another edition of the Dog and Pauly Show. And, you know, I was thinking the other day, and I get in trouble thinking a lot, but I was thinking we ought to put a ribbon on the Newark Pilots and the Ohmann family who run that operation, as well as many other enterprises. It's good to bring in our longtime buddy, Mr. Bob Ohmann, the owner of the Newark Pilots and also other enterprises. Bob, how are things in Carolina this morning?
They're pretty good. It's 78 degrees, and hopefully it'll stay in the 80s.
So, obviously, Bob, you've put the finishing touches on yet another season, your second season. You won the championship a year ago. Amsterdam wins it this year. Your thoughts on the season, how it went? I'm sure you were disappointed. You had chances to pull that out. Of course, the game that we broadcast from your facility, Newark had an 8-4 lead, gave up the Grand Slammer. You can think about certain pitches and certain things that happened on the field, but overall, how did you like the season?
I think we had a really good year. Our bats were really good. We had a team batting average of 282. Our pitchers held the other team to about 260. Which is good enough to win in any league. We're looking this year, we've got a guy right now out in California that's doing a camp at Stanford University, and he's looking for some bigger bats for our coming year for home runs. That's one thing that we lacked a little bit this year. I think we only had 6 home runs, but there again, you know, all in all, the doubles, the triples, and all the bases on were really good for any team.
Now, you say you got 8 returning starters, including the talented Brent Langston. How does that work? Do the kids decide to come back to Newark next year, or is it something that you guys get involved with to try to get them to come back? How does that work about how you know how many are coming returning to Newark?
Well, obviously we know the ones that we want to have come back.
10-4.
And they kind of tipped their hat a little bit because they had a really good season and they enjoyed themselves in Newark. So we immediately, talked to them about returning, for instance, like Brett Langstrom and, Landy and people like that we knew would be able to help us. You know, those guys all batted in the 300s, with the exception of Langston, but he led the league in doubles and slugging percentage. So we knew that was a no-brainer. And we've also got a couple pitchers that we're really excited that are coming back. We've got a kid out of Ithaca. We've got a couple kids out of Michigan, and then, we're looking at a kid right now down in California that throws about 94, 95 miles per hour, which would be an absolute good deal for us.
Bob Ohmann's our guest this morning via phone from the Carolinas. We welcome Bob back, and we putting the finishing touches on our relationship here at FingerLakes1.com with the Newark Pilots, which has been a very positive relationship. Speaking for Jimmy and, of course, our entire broadcast crew, we really enjoyed doing your games this year, Bob. And I got to tell you, from Brian Connell, your general manager, and all of the people supporting Brian, you certainly made our visits very hospitable, and we do appreciate that.
Well, thank you. We're looking forward to next year doing our games live from Newark. That was really a good touch. We heard from a lot of people. Matter of fact, even from servicemen in
that was great.
Afghanistan and Iraq that watched the games.
I think that was
and
fantastic.
Kind of gave them a hometown feeling, which was really nice.
Oh, that young man coming on brought tears to my eyes. I mean, that was really emotional that night. That young man from Afghanistan, just unbelievable. And we talk about the World Wide Web, and that's exactly why it's called the World Wide Web. Hey, let's talk about attendance. You were pretty happy with your numbers. You drew in some 27,500 folks for 24 home games. Your season is 48 games. I was surprised you ranked only 4th. I would have thought you were 2nd or 3rd with that type of turnout, but that's still a darn good number.
Well, you got to remember, we're up against some really big cities like Elmira Amsterdam's a good-sized city, and I think the other city was Oneonta. And Oneonta's had a long history of baseball there, and they've got a very nice ballpark. But being number 4 with, some of these good-sized cities is really a compliment to Newark. It shows that they support their team, and we're looking next year of trying to hit the 30,000 mark, which would be really commendable for a town the size of Newark.
That is amazing, yeah.
And I think we can do that. We're going to do some new things there. We're doing some improvements to the ballpark that the Pilots are paying for, and we're going to try to make it a really fan-friendly atmosphere, which it was this year, but we're going to try to take the next step for next year. Every day we learn something new.
And certainly that's part of being an owner. That's certainly maybe you can figure a way to not to have the sun come over the left field fence at 7 o'clock and we take over the microphone. We always have fun with that.
We're going to give you a special set of visors.
I like that, and I like to maybe Leslie can, in her spare time, I know she doesn't have much spare time, but maybe put up a set of Venetian blinds that I can open and close.
Hey, I just wanted to tell you that driving back from New York yesterday, she drove very fast, so she might be able to come in, maybe not last, over Watkins Glen next time.
That's right. Well, hey, listen. What I was, and I do appreciate the fact you're going to, make improvements. You never leave anything idle, and improving the locker rooms. You said something on your email to me for this interview about maybe doing you said it was a bounce room for the kids to get them involved as well. What's that all about as far as getting the kids involved?
Well, it's the big blow-up type of thing that a kid can go in and jump around
gotcha.
on.
Yeah, that's neat.
It's kind of cool, and we did it a little bit this year. We rented it out of Rochester, and we're going to buy one ourselves and just have it at the ballpark for every game, which I thought would be a pretty good touch. Well, it gives a chance for the parents to watch the game and the kids to bounce in the bounce house.
Well, I got my buddy Paul here, and Paul, it looks like the Ohmanns certainly are not letting the idols sit idle. They're always trying to figure out ways to improve it, and obviously those steps are going to be dynamite for next year.
Yeah, I just wanted to...
the Village of Newark is really good, too. They're such a good partner. That's one thing that when we have our team meetings, we talk about, the friendliness of the Newark people in the Village of Newark, and, the other towns don't seem to have that.
Right.
And that's one thing that we seem to have in Newark that no one else has. We just have cooperation.
Sure.
We don't ask them to spend any money. We just ask them, for help and ideas and things like that, and they're always standing right there to help the quality of life in Newark.
Paul, you were going to say something.
Yeah, good morning, Bob. I just wanted to say that 30,000 is a realistic number for you next year. I think the key to the whole thing moving forward is the family theme of the team. And I know you have your faithfuls for every game, but I think you'll have many more families next year. The food, the quality of the food, and the fact that it's priced within the family's range, it will help you moving forward. And, of course, the youth of your team, the excitement of having those young kids there, their kids themselves, reaching out to the younger kids. I think they get into the moon bounce. They get that out of their system, and I think they're good for 3 or 4 innings. I think they can sit there and watch, and I'm so happy that you're head and shoulders above any other organization that's ever come into this smaller market area that you talked about, and you're doing it, and you realize that it would have to grow, and it is growing, and I definitely think that you guys are on the right track. So, and I'd just like to add that mention. That speed driver in your family that got there pretty fast yesterday. Tell her Danica was good for 1 lap at Watkins Glen, so we may be looking for her to come up here next year. And
I told Bob it gives me more opportunities to take shots at poor Danica. That's all right. That's what the like. But
poor lady.
That poor lady's just getting hammered by the dog.
Thank you very much, guys.
Hey, listen, Bob, we appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule. We're going to talk about your performance coming up this weekend at the Ohmann Theater. Ted, the movie Ted, which myself and Mary watched. It is absolutely hilarious. It's not for kids, though. It's a great movie, and I know you're showing that this weekend at the Ohmann Theater. So thanks for everything. We enjoyed our relationship with you. We hope to expand it next year. And I know, speaking for Jimmy Senecropi, we could not wait to get to Newark to do your games. We look forward to doing more next year.
Okay, thank you very much. Good night.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bob. Have a good day.
Yep.
Later.
Bob Ohmann, the owner, along with his wife Leslie, the owner of the Newark Pilots, of the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League. Of course, our involvement is very close to those folks. You can tell by the way we talk about that franchise. They are just family-friendly. They produce a good brand of baseball. They came up a couple of bucks short this year, didn't win the championship, but rest assured, folks, you want to watch a good baseball game and a nice night? Head over to Coburn Park in Newark. And, of course, during the course of the next several months, during the winter months, we'll be plugging more things happening with Newark during the course of the winter, Jim.
Yeah, we're
well
looking ahead to next year.
Yep.
I know I got to talk to Bob about
Sure.
what we're going to do, and probably a few more games.
Sure.
Also looking into a way that maybe we can bring some of the away games to our network,
Yeah.
maybe through the use of their interns.
Right.
Maybe do a separate type of broadcast for an away game
There you go.
than a home game that would allow them to set up shop there.
Right.
Because I know that we can't travel to
Yeah.
Amsterdam or
Tough.
Oneonta.
Yeah.
I mean, we could, but geez, that's quite a commitment. But boy, we loved it. And another thing I really loved is every time we're at that ballpark, we didn't have any rainouts. We
No.
did 9 games, no
Right.
rainouts. When the day turned to night, there's not a more gorgeous place to
It
be.
is.
I mean, it's just, for a baseball fan, it's just as gorgeous as being on the south end of Senegal Lake
Yeah.
or
beautiful.
sitting lakeside. It's one of the most beautiful places you can be in the Finger Lakes at around 8:30, 9 o'clock
Exactly.
at night.
Right.
So
It's beautiful, and certainly I had a lot of fun. I hadn't done baseball games since I was, back 30 years ago. But I kind of got into it, getting the ebb and flow with it, and Brendan Harrington and Dave Barnick were also doing play-by-play, and they also did an outstanding job. And, of course, Jimmy was the director, producer. He was in control of all the knobs and switches and cameras. And, of course, Chris Marcourt was assisting him. And, of course, we would never forget our buddy Hunt Dog, Jeremy Hunt, who did a great job as well. So a lot of plans for next year, and I know Jimmy will cement those plans with the Ohmanns during the course of the upcoming months. But be rest assured, we will be back in Newark.
Yep, and now, you can feel it in the air. Even now in mid-August, it's
Right.
starting to move towards fall. And so, I can remember the first game we did on June 7th.
Yep.
It was just such a great feeling. The summer was just getting started, and
Now it's
we were
coming
at the
to an end.
ballpark. And so it's nice to have baseball like that so close to home here in the summer that we can enjoy.
Well, while we finish up on the Ohmanns, a reminder that our Dog and Pauly show is brought to you by the Newark Pilots and the Ohmann Theater. The Ohmann Theater, of course, located in Lyons, New York. Tremendous renovations. It hails back to the 1915 year. Bob's grandfather bought it originally, and now it has been totally renovated. As I've asked you before, take a little drive over to Lyons, have a nice little lunch over there, and you won't miss it. Believe me, there's only about 7 streets in Lyons. Having been born there, I've been back a few times. And you'll see this amazing thing that says Ohmann Theater, and it is so well done. The renovations, they did not lose any sight as far as putting a lot of resource into that theater. It is gorgeous. So check out the Ohmann Theater. They always have performances going on. And, of course, this week's performance, they are bringing the movie Ted. Seth MacFarlane. If you're a Family Guy watcher like I am, I love Family Guy. It's a crazy, stupid show, I know, but I love it, and it's a Seth MacFarlane deal as well. He's one of the more talented comedy guys in the world, and he stars, he produced it, he directed it, he stars in it, and it's called Ted, and it's the love of a teddy bear. He has a favorite animal, stuffed animal, when he was a little kid, like we all do maybe. And unfortunately, in this case, the teddy bear becomes live. And I'm telling you, it's not for kids. So if you're going to go watch Ted, don't bring your kids because it is pretty R-rated, I'm telling you. But it's funny for adults. So check that out. It opens up Friday night, the 17th of August is Friday. Showtime 7:30. Saturday and Sunday there'll be performances, showtimes at 4:30 and 7:30, both Saturday and Sunday. So a comical. My wife and myself went and watched it up in Geneva, and it was absolutely just, you cry, you're laughing so hard. So, but again, please don't bring your little kiddies. Well, let's thanks the Ohmann, Bob, for calling in. Pauly, we missed you last week. You were doing some prep food because your buddy was taking some time off. I don't have to ask you about the deluxe. I'm sure that our buddy Charlie is doing great, like he has been. But I understand he's wearing some black shorts, black shirts, black hat, black socks because it's like a funeral of those New York Mets.
Yeah, the only thing that I noticed lately, he was walked in the other day, he had a Giants hat on. So maybe this is the official. It's over.
He's moving from summer to fall too.
Yeah. And so we're watching, and I had you punch into a little bit on the computer to some of these summer training camps. I don't usually pay too much attention to what goes on at these training camps, but the Giants seem to be struggling like every other team. They've had a couple people get some injuries. One guy, Rogers, a big 300-pound lineman, had a blood disorder. Right. But the Giants list 9 300-pound players on their training roster. I'm not saying that's going to be their season roster. Right. And they train at these facilities, and these guys are reporting to practice with a lot of lameness and soreness in their backs, and some of it's from the sessions are tough and everything. But some of it's from the betting, So I say to these guys, they come to these smaller venues to train, and they're sleeping on twins. I mean, can you imagine a guy like the size of those defensive linemen sleeping on a twin bed? God, get them a Tempur-Pedic mattress or something. That's got to be part of the whole thing. The last thing you want is guys, hurting their backs and stuff like that. But it's kind of cute. Everything's moving along pretty good. The Giants are suffering some injuries. People are getting excited for pro football right now. But right now, I might start peaking a little bit in another week or two towards America's pastime, which you just mentioned with the Ohmanns there in Carolina. I wish their season could last 2 weeks longer, and I know it can't because of the commitment to college players and stuff like that. But we would have loved to have them to bridge for us, to bridge the excitement of baseball from their level to the major league levels, and it's it gets exciting in baseball now. So they already have two teams in the wild card this year, and they're already showing that Boston, who's lost game after game after game, and they're getting the players are unhappy with the manager.
Mutant.
Yeah, here we go. It's I don't watch a baseball game to watch the umpires watch the managers manage. I watch to see the players play.
Well, Paul, as well as I do, when 17 players ask for a meeting with the owners, it doesn't bode well for the manager.
Yeah, I just think that they got to get above that.
Well,
come on, give me the game. Yeah. Play the best you can. I'm spoiled because, like, when we come in here and we say, "Lovely day, let's play 2," Ernie Banks, 1954. They really wanted to play 2, and it is what it is. But you don't get to pick your manager.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to pick your team. Apparently, a lot of people move around, but same old. Charlie's discouraged with the Mets, but.
Business is good.
Yeah, we're a couple of weeks, 3 weeks away from football, right?
Yep.
3 weeks, yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
3 weeks, yeah. Big game, Giants and America's team, the Dallas Cowboys.
There you go. Yeah. So it'll be interesting as we get ready. I've got to go up and needle Charlie and Linda when I get a chance. The next couple of days, I got to get up there, sit at the bar like I normally do, and eat a couple of popcorn little bowls there that he brings out, and chit-chat with Charlie, and maybe I'll wear black, and I know he'll know why I'm wearing black when I walk in. But it's great to have Charlie on as a continuing sponsor of the Dog and Pauly. We thank him and Linda for supporting this show. By the way, let's move to the Seneca Falls Country Club, Jimbo. Lots going on this week. You got club qualifiers for the membership. You got the Canal Cup, the legendary, famous Canal Cup coming up. Then the next weekend, a week from this weekend, you got Member, which is always a very popular tournament. So a lot of things happening at the Seneca Falls Country Club. I was down Monday playing with John King, and there was an unbelievable crowd of people playing, and I did not know. I think I knew 3 of them. It was amazing. A lot of people coming in from out of town to play there.
Probably taking advantage of the foursome for $100 deal. 4 guys, $25 a man.
Steady traffic. Couple groups on each hole. It was really nice to see that.
Yep, golf and cart for 3 or foursome for $100, 25 a man. That's pretty good. And you mentioned this weekend is a big weekend here for. The thing about the country club is there's our Seneca Falls, or a lot of the local courses is there's events for everybody, for handicapped golfers, for beginners, for seniors. But this weekend is a big weekend for the 40 or so golfers down there that play to single-digit handicaps.
Right.
Because we got the Club Championship qualifier on Saturday, which the Seneca Falls Country Club Club Championship is a big event. I've been trying to win it for 30 years.
Right.
Well, not 30, let's say about 24 years. I've been trying unsuccessfully.
Okay.
So you have to qualify first, and then you go to match play on Labor Day weekend. So on Saturday, we got about 40 guys playing for 14 spots because the defending champ and the winner of our stroke play have automatic berths. So it's not easy, but it's funny. Whether there's 30, 40, or 50 people qualifying, it always seems like you got to shoot about 80 to qualify, which most of my rounds are on the better side of that.
Right.
But, one of every or two of every 10 isn't. And so that's what makes it so nerve-wracking because you got that 118 holes to qualify for this great tournament. And then the following day on Sunday is a great event, again, for the better golfers at Seneca Falls and Silver Creek, where it's a Canal Cup. It's a Ryder Cup style matches between Seneca Falls Country Club and Silver Creek. Mm-hmm. Two teams of 12. They split them up, play half the matches at Seneca Falls, half at Silver Creek. Then everybody gets together after and has dinner and awards the cup. So that's always fun.
Who's leading the Cup Series?
Well, Seneca Falls, I think it's been played 7 times, and Seneca Falls has won all 7 times.
Oh, wow. Silver Creek still wants to come back and take you guys on, huh?
Well, some of them have been close. I think a lot of people, I don't want to say underestimate, but don't realize how good of players we have at Seneca Falls Country Club, whether it's Mark Hilwa, Ed Boudreau, Doug Brown, Steve Hyde, and those are guys that have been great for 30 years. Also got a lot of great younger players, too. And, if you go around the area courses, I'm not talking about Rochester, Syracuse, but right here in the Finger Lakes, there's
good caliber,
great roster of golfers at Seneca Falls, 20, 30 deep. And so, but that Canal Cup is a great opportunity to get, because we know everybody at Silver Creek, and we love playing golf with them when we see them at various tournaments around. Right. So it's a great opportunity for us to get together, have some good matches, and then have a nice dinner and some drinks after, which this year Silver Creek is hosting the dinner afterwards. So it's a big weekend. And then the following weekend, I believe, is the member. Yep. And then the weekend after that is Labor Day, where the club championship, which will come down to a 36-hole Monday final, which there's usually, 30 golf carts and 100 people out there watching.
It's great.
2 people play. It's something special that they do at the club. So, and we also, I should mention, have a half-year membership deal. $300
I saw that,
for a single gets you a membership now to the end of the year, and then next year when your renewal comes in, there's $300 off. So you pay $300 now, and you get it off of next year.
It's a nice deal.
So you get to golf all the rest of this year, which there's 3. There's the rest of August, September, October, and sometimes into November few weeks. So
never know.
So that's what's going on.
Now, does Norm Sharman, my good friend, does he play on the Silver Creek team? Norm Sharman?
He doesn't every year, but he has. The very first year,
he should stick to bowling, Normie. I mean, seriously. Normie's got about maybe a little bit more game than a dog. I mean, he don't know where it's going. He hits this hook, this big-time right-to-left shot, and he has no clue. Hope Norm's listening. If Norm's not listening, I hope somebody's watching the show today to go back and say the dog ripped his golf game, because I've played with Norm for years in tournaments, Jim. He has no clue. He's the Phil Mickelson of Waterloo. 30 yards left. I mean, most of his shots go out, and they start bending right to left. That's called, what is that called, Jim? A hook?
Right to left is a hook.
A hook.
If you're a right-hander.
He's got major hook issues, and I can see why you guys are 7-0 if Norm's on that team.
Well, yeah, we the very first year of the Canal Cup, which was a long time ago now, it seems like, I drew Norm in the individual matches, the last matches, and we went down to the last hole. And
you beat him?
I did beat him, but I shouldn't say I beat him. I think that he actually hooked it, like you said, out of bounds on the 18 at the country club and kind of handed it to me. And then we all went in and enjoyed some chicken wings and pizza. And so that's really what the event's about.
That's great.
So it's looking forward to that this weekend.
All right. So Seneca Falls, a lot going on. By the way, folks, our other sponsor for the Dog and Pauly, Marshall's Auto Sales, Routes 5 and 20. Dickie is not happy with Danica crashing on the first lap, as Paul talked about earlier at Watkins Glen. Poor Danica. She races. If she completes a race, she finishes men's and men's, 11 to 15. Who cares? That's the minor leagues. And then she's in the minor leagues on Saturday and gets run over by some car coming across the grass ball. I was laughing so hard I almost fell off the couch. One lap in the garage, see ya. But Marshall's Auto Sales on routes 5 and 20, she's got about 4 or 5 used cars out there with price tags on the window. Not to worry, Paul will negotiate with you. Dick will negotiate with you, and he will come up with a deal that you're satisfied with. And again, the beauty of working with Dick is you can use his great longtime service technician, Tommy Thompson. As a matter of fact, I'll be visiting Tommy Thompson probably later today, maybe, as there's a fuse, I think, went out in my white car, so I need that replaced. But, Pauly, Dickie is no doubt in mourning with Danica's situation because him and Ted Flock expect great things from her. And the last time I looked, the only thing that's great about Danica so far is her commercials, which I'm jealous of.
Dickie's really what a bad investment that turned out for the people that backed Danica. Would you like to be those major corporate people that said, we're going to sponsor her because she can drive and she's kind of cute? We all know about the cute part. But obviously, when you
gotta have game.
When you get people side by side, and bumper to bumper, she's not that kind of driver, and she just can't seem to make the adjustment.
No.
But in defense of her, she wrecked early. The Glen was one of the best Glens that I didn't get there. My son got there for Sunday's race, and he said it was unbelievable that last 2 laps.
I saw the video.
There's a couple of cars on the track that were putting down oil that maybe they said there should have been another caution, but they wanted to let him run. The oil got down. Kyle Busch got wiggly. Something happened to his car, and a lot of people like to see him get passed out.
Yeah.
He got passed out by Brad Keselowski, who was running from the front anyway, who was in head. And then there comes the road course driver, Marcus Ambrose, a really nice guy. I mean, he's a road course expert, and he's pretty good during the course of the year. But that driving on that last lap and a half, I said, that was the most exciting. And Brad Keselowski says, that's the way you do it. Nobody intentionally tried to take anybody out, but the course was taking people out, and they just went sideways, back and forth, and that was one of the most exciting.
Into the grass, wide around.
Every which way but loose, kicking up the dirt, like Jim said. That was really good for Watkins Glen. We had a little rain, and the rain backed off. They had records there, I think, this year for crowds of people. They had no incidents from what I've heard. My son took family there, young children. He said it was set up for them. And so I give kudos to Watkins Glen, and I say to Dickie, it's nice to see somebody else other than a Hendrick driver come across the line. And I also like Brad Keselowski, and Kyle got up out of the slide and everything. I guess he finished 8th or 7th or something like that. But great Glen.
Yeah, that's great. Mm-hmm. And by the way, our final sponsor to talk about this morning, Lizard's Tailgater Lounge, my buddy Scott Trickler. Maybe I'll get there tonight. I got to get over to see Scotty and some of his great clientele up at Lizard's Tailgater Lounge, where his buddy and my buddy Dave Jaycox hangs out. So I hope Dave's checking out the show this morning. Lizard's all kinds of specials during the week on drinks. They change kind of every other week, so check out Lizard's latest drink offerings. And, of course, he's got entertainment on the weekends. Lizard's Tailgater Lounge. He's got trivia night, which is tonight. Wednesday night's trivia night. So that's going to be fun. And certainly check that out over at Lizard's Tailgater Lounge. My friend Scott Trickler, also a sponsor of this show. Well, Pauly, I don't know. You're not a big NBA follower, I trust, but I don't follow it like I used to follow NBA basketball. But I do believe it's time to anoint another team that has a shot at the NBA title next year, and that, of course, is the Lakers picking up Superman, who I thought was one of the most outstanding moves made by Mitch Kupchak, the general manager, and that ownership, Mr. Buzz, of bringing this guy in. They bring in Steve Nash. Yes, he's old, but he still can play point guard. Would they get rid of Bynum? Who cares? They bring in Superman. Dwight Howard. To me, now I know he's got a little back issue. He's a young kid. He'll be all right. To me, he's one of the top 10 players in all of the NBA. And my mind is you got him and Kobe and Gasol and Steve Nash. I'm not saying they're going to win the title next year, but I'll tell you right now, they're going to be in the hunt. I thought that was an outstanding move by, the New York Yankees of NBA basketball. Of course, that's the Lakers. They got money.
Yeah, he's
an excellent player.
I consider him a foundation player.
Oh, God, yes.
That you could put him on your team, and everyone else is going to be better because of him, because he has such a presence. He's anonymous, off the boards, blocking shots, and he's got a fairly decent jump shot, and he's just devastating around the rim. That's going to extend Colby. I think Colby, instead of maybe next year going down, getting close to teens and 20 points a game, I think he's going to score more, because this guy's going to really open. And nobody's a better assist guy than Nash. At 38, give the double his due. I mean, this is the new era. The 40 now is 30 or whatever it is. But it's just a case of the rich getting rich and the poor getting poor. I think right away the World Series becomes L.A. and Miami. Yeah. The only thing I'll say about Miami is I think they've got all great superstars, but I don't think they have the foundation player, which I think Howard is, and I think that's going to go. But, when you talk basketball, let's get on with this thing. USA.
Oh, amazing.
USA. Mm-hmm. I mean, that game against Spain.
Yeah.
Come on.
They win by 7.
Those Spanish guys, that was a good basketball. They scored 100 points.
Yeah.
They scored 100 points against the USA, and nobody was scoring against the USA's defense.
Yeah.
And the highlight of the whole series for me, towards the end, especially the last game, was watching Coach K.
Yeah.
I never see that guy get excited about it. It's always the hand on the chin,
right.
and he'll bring somebody over with his finger like Jim does and tell him what he might have done wrong there. But he got into the game. He was running around, jumping, and even thought he might have chest bumped somebody. But I thought this was a great year for the United States in the Olympics. Good comeback year for us. China was leading all early on the gold medal count.
We knocked them off.
And, boy, some of these people that won medals that I'm ashamed to say I never heard of. Yeah. Some of these 37-year-old woman won a gold medal. And it was just a really good feeling because I needed to restore my confidence in us with the way the politicians have been acting lately, and we won't get into that. Sure. But this guy made $20 million last year, and he's going to pay the same tax as you. When I think I've got to listen to that all the way up to November, it's really discouraging. And the Olympics distracted me from that, and I thought I needed something else, a longer Olympics or whatever, start it later, and. Of course, it is what it is, but I'm really proud of the United States athletes. They really did really well. They represented themselves where there started to be a little controversy early between Lockheed and Phelps. Yeah. Lockheed went out and beat him in the first race, and, of course, the cream came to the top. Phelps did what he does, and Lockheed distinguished himself. Yeah. But it was a team effort. And I thought it was great. And, of course, what you say, the women, I mean, there's some people that are out there, and there's 12 people playing for one medal. And there's some people winning 8 medals. Right. So, I mean, you got to keep it in perspective. I was proud of the girls' soccer team. They beat a team that beat them in the World Cup. Exactly. They beat Japan. And they beat Canada, although some people said the game was kind of rolled their way with the officiating and the penalty kicks and stuff. I don't follow it that much. But, everyone did well. I don't want to miss anybody. But the greatest thing for me coming out of the Olympics is the United States women's soccer team is playing their first exhibition game in Rochester, New York. Yeah. This is the closest you'll ever get. Amy Wambach has paid her dues. She really knows what it means. She really appreciates what people did for her in Pee Wee soccer, in high school soccer, and she went on from there, and she never forgot her base. Mm-hmm. And I love athletes like that. So I say thank you very much. We talked about it last year, Amy Wambach, and I can't say enough about her. She didn't figure into the scoring into the last 2 games. It was younger girls that should have been. And the goalie played great, the solo girl, and the people just the girl who scored the 2 goals in the last game against Japan hadn't scored in 2 or 3 of the other games, so it all worked out. So if you don't get this there to September 1st, I mean, last year they drew 15,000 people. If they don't draw 20,000 people this year at the stadium in Rochester to see those women, it's a shame.
By the way, speaking of basketball, without leaving the Olympics, one other comment. Talk about men's domination. How about the ladies' basketball, huh? Ooh. The women's basketball. You talk about domination. Here's a couple of stats for you. They have won the gold the last 5 Olympics. That's over a period of 20 years, okay, because it's every 4 years. The next one will be Rio de Janeiro in 2016 when they will introduce golf back into the Olympics, believe it or not. But all seriousness, the American women have won the gold for women's basketball 5 straight Olympics. Other than one game in those 5 Olympics, all the games they've played, I don't know what it is, 6 or 8 games, not even sure. But let's say you got to win 8 games. Over a period of 5 Olympics, that's 40 games. One game out of 40, I think it's 1 out of 40, has been decided by less than 30 points. I mean, wow. That's how much the ladies have dominated the rest of the world in women's basketball. I couldn't believe that stat. Matter of fact, I looked it up. It was amazing. They just crush, burn, dismantle anybody who goes on the basketball court to play women's Olympic basketball. Give credit to the women athletes, man. You go, girl. I did a story on my show on Monday about Shannon Easton, who was the lines person for the San Diego Green Bay football game last week. They gave her a shot because, as you know, Paul, the referees, the officials have been frozen out of the NFL. They're on strike, so they're bringing replacements in. They brought a young lady in named Shannon Easton, who did, from what I understand, afterwards, an outstanding job. The players loved her work. The coaches loved her work. And my point on Monday was, even though I've been called a male chauvinist pig in my lifetime, which I don't believe I am, I think any woman who can do the same thing that a guy can do should get that opportunity. And Shannon Easton, I hope and pray that we'll see the day where she's a regular official and not one of these super subs.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think the best people qualified going forward, no matter what their gender is, no. I think also is I'm tired of watching a game of athletes that are at their peak and watching 55 to 70-year-old lawyers and doctors that do this part-time try to get out of the way of the blitzing middle linebacker if you're the, and stuff like that. I'm just saying that it is what it is. But also with the women. I didn't mean to discount the women.
No, I know.
I mean, let's face it. Every game as the competition supposedly got better, they kept separating themselves from those people. And going forward, I want to congratulate Pat Summitt, like everybody has, the winningest coach in the history of basketball. I want to give her kudos, and she can't do the job anymore, and she stepped down and everything like that. But I want to tell you that there were 6 people from UConn's program in there. And this guy that coaches, that cannot be the easiest job in the world.
When you expect
for a man to go in there and come out with one program like that. And I'm looking at the WBA, the Women's Basketball League, and the UConn people are 20 points and 50. I mean, that system is incredible. And it seemed like that all-star team got the Connecticut, whatever it is. I mean, we talk about Jim at Syracuse, but this guy in Calhoun at UConn. But this guy, I wonder what I'm sure he never wants to coach men anymore. But the people, the girls, just the ladies react to him. I mean, it's incredible. And he was into the game. When it was 25 points, he was still trying to run different defenses and different. I got to give my hat off to him. That can't be the easiest job in the world, but UConn has really sent out some players into that WBA.
Boeheim's just, I mean, I make fun of their schedule in November and December because I've always said that, 13 or 14 wins a year, I could go down there and sit on a bench and send out any 5 to win those games. I've always made fun of my my Lions buddy, Boeheim, but you got to give Jim credit. I mean, everybody makes fun of the fact he always wins easy street. Dick Vitale used to scream during his telecast, "Play somebody, Jimmy, play somebody." And, I mean, the rap against Jim has always been there. Jimmy Senecrobi, a graduate of Syracuse, has heard it for years. There's some merit to that argument. Other teams play weak teams too, but Syracuse has a tendency of playing patsies for the first month and a half. Now, not to say other schools don't do that, but I guess that maybe they don't do it to the degree that Jim does. So, I mean, you got to give Boeheim his credit, and there's nobody that says that he hasn't put together a remarkable program. And if you're a 4 rating or a 5, which is the ultimate athlete rating, and if you're a basketball superstar out in California or not even, or if you're in France, if you're in Yugoslavia or wherever the hell it is, guess what? You want to come to Syracuse. And the same thing about Connecticut. Winning breeds winning. Success breeds success.
Are we going to talk about Syracuse basketball schedule right now?
No, we're not going to.
I just got to say one thing.
Go ahead.
I think that's one of the biggest fallacies that's ever been perpetrated by the media.
Okay.
And Vitale and Gottlieb.
Yeah.
First of all, they schedule these games a little in advance, and Syracuse was playing like NC State, Michigan State. Syracuse plays in the preseason tournaments. Right. Last year it was Stanford and Virginia Tech. And, yeah, Stanford and Virginia Tech were down a little bit, but Syracuse can't do anything about that. Right. And then what people don't understand is, okay, once January starts, they have to play in the Big East Conference, which is ridiculous. They have all I say is take anybody's they talk about out of conference schedule. Right. Take anybody's total schedule over the last few years and count the number of games against ranked teams that they had, and Syracuse or any other team in the Big East is all at the top because there's 8 ranked teams in the Big East, where if in the ACC there's 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now that's all coming to an end. Syracuse is going to the ACC, but geez, if I was in that Big East Conference the past decade when that thing was just a juggernaut, I'd schedule light too if I could. But I don't think Syracuse even intentionally scheduled light. Yeah. They got home and homes, like I said, against NC State.
Sure.
Florida came to the Dome last year. They're playing in the Coaches versus Cancer. Yeah. So geez.
I guess you.
Yeah, I think, Jim, the thing is they keep alive. And it's great for the other teams that they do. They keep alive the Lemoyne series, the Colgates. I think
Cornell.
You know why that doesn't bother me anymore? That used to bother me, but Jim likes to start light and move and get the kids get his confidence as he goes along. Yeah. I understand his theory with that with young players because they're coming to him at 18 years old. But the thing of it is, when he plays the other team, he beats them as badly as he did the weaker teams. Yeah. I mean, they're. The adjustment is made. You can't criticize a guy that has got the success rate that he has. Yeah. If you like his personality, or you don't like him, or you don't like him disciplining kids the way he does when he brings them over, I will say one thing. He's had a lot of playground players come into him. I mean, now you know more than I do. Kids that have come from Philly and New York City, the Pearls, the guys that are going to maybe. He wants to. They're going to go into the NBA and do what they do, but he wants to get them into a college discipline format program, and he does. And what he done is, I just think.
Well, let's look at like Deion Waiters, for example. Yeah. Deion Waiters comes into the program last year, and or 2 years ago, and he had obviously got tremendous talent, and he. On a lot of schools, he probably could have moved right into the starting lineup. Boeheim realized this kid's got to learn a little bit of a lesson here. So he kind of holds him back, makes him a 6-man, humbles him a little bit. And I would argue that Waiters is well more prepared for the NBA now as going into his rookie season with Cleveland because Boeheim didn't just roll over and let him do whatever he wanted. And you know what? If you're going to come to Syracuse to play basketball, you're going to have a lot of great opportunities, but you better not butt heads with Boeheim because Boeheim will put you on the bench. It doesn't matter who you are.
Oh, I know.
So,
by the way, speaking of Big East and just switching, staying with the Big East for a second, and about a different sport, I see that they just hired a new commissioner for the Big East for the football, and it was a big story in the
whole conference.
The whole conference. Yeah. Now the Big East Conference, a new commissioner, and now with the defections of West Virginia, Pittsburgh, and Syracuse, the Big Three, the new commissioner of the Big East will be sitting down with the network soon to try to negotiate a contract. If Jim Senecropi or Paul Hellstrom or Harold Weber were in charge of offering multi-million-dollar contracts respective for our networks, who would show up for that meeting? B, who would bid $12, Jim, to televise the Big East football? Who, in their right mind, would want that?
Yeah, I think they're going to. I mean, you might see.
Tell me who's in the Big East. Hello,
SMU.
Come on.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I mean, they got a lot of money. I understand the networks have got lots of money, and I'm sure someone's going to bid. But I read that, and I'm thinking to myself, if I was an executive for CBS or ESPN or one of those operations, CNBC, whatever, I mean, would I want to go and approach the Big East Football Conference and televise their games?
Well, the Big East, so they got to package in basketball with it. They still got a great basketball conference, even without Syracuse and Pittsburgh next year leaving.
Yeah.
It's
gonna be interesting.
It's really sad, but
sad.
And you got more networks now too. So you got ESPN, you got NBC Sports, and you got a few other up and comers. Maybe the Versus, I guess that's NBC Sports, but so they'll get some type of contract, but it won't be as big as it should have. I contend that the Big East, the nail in the coffin for the Big East happened maybe 6 or 7 years ago when John Marinato should have developed a Big East television network.
There you go.
Just like the Big Ten does.
Sure.
It's cash cow. And with the teams that they had then, and still do to some extent, you got big markets. You have big markets to sell advertising in. So if you have your own television network and all the content they could have had, all the old basketball games, and so I think that would have been a wise move. Going back 5-10 years ago would be to establish a Big East television network. Then you're a little stronger financially, but it's over now, and it's hard.
Sad.
It's really hard to take for me who loves Big East.
Oh,
I love Big East basketball.
Right.
Got a lot of memories of Big East football, whether Syracuse, Miami, Syracuse, Virginia Tech. But recently Big East football has been less than exciting, I guess, to follow that league.
And as Jim knows, the Big East members took a shot at Syracuse, picking them to finish ahead of Temple this year in the football conference because they were leaving town. That's a good cheap shot on the way out. Pauly, I was going to tell you that Meg Mushniski, brought up in Naples, ladies rowing 8 for the Olympics, the rowing 8 competition, the gold medal. Meg Mushniski, I believe it's pronounced Mushniski. Naples, went to Canandaigua, went to St. Lawrence, then transferred to Ithaca. Parade today in her honor at Naples.
Yep.
So it's underway. I don't know what time it starts, but they're having a parade for Meg down there in Naples.
Homecoming for Olympic gold medalist in Naples.
That is awesome. I bet that place, and it's going to be a nice day for it. So that's pretty incredible. So.
Well, it's so nice that they honor them. Like Lockheed, he's a local guy. He's from the Bloomfield area. He went to school at Canandaigua. And there was other people from different little areas. I think there was one around Fredonia or something like that won gold. The key to the whole thing for me is the humility of a gold medal athlete.
Yep.
I mean, they're up there crying as they're playing the national anthem and the effort they're giving you in their sport while they're out there. And when they realize they can't get the gold, they're fighting like the devil for the silver. And it's just the fencing. A girl was born water polo, women's. Some girl scored 5 goals for the USA, unprecedented. I mean, I don't know anything about water polo, but I started watching it. I mean, the only thing I couldn't go along with was my wife got into the synchronized swimming. And
Mary likes that.
Ever since Esther Williams, I haven't been the same.
Mary likes that.
Yeah, but I was just a genuine with all these things that we watch and these guys holding out for contracts and these baseball players pouting and these football players and all of these people and these politicians going after each other. I seen somebody represented our country and stood there and said it's still the best there is, getting on a stand for the USA and putting a medal around your neck. And I don't care if they were 16, the Missy Franklin girl, the Phelps. I thought the guy that everybody was rooting for or not rooting for, it was a win-lose situation. It's a love-hate relationship with him. He did some things and didn't start training until he got that late in this getting ready for the Olympics. The guy still went out, and he is the greatest Olympic athlete. We talked about this before. I don't know how you measure that medals-wise.
Yes.
He's won the most medals of any Olympic athletes. But how about those people that run those decathlons and pentathlons and stuff?
Yeah, those
Jim,
are the best athletes, the decathlon.
Is
Holy
that
cow.
not something? Yep. I watched those 1-2 guys for the USA figure 1-2 and the girls in the pentathlon. I mean, it was incredible. I don't know how you pick the world's greatest athlete.
My favorite athlete, and he's not an American, but I give my H. Weber dog tip of the cap to, Usain Bolt, Jamaica, the fastest human in the world. He talks the talk. He brags about how good he is. He says he's like Muhammad Ali, I am the greatest. He looks in the camera. He's a good-looking kid. He's a great endorser of products. But he gets on that track, and he smiles at you, and he smiles at his opposition on the track. and they say, set, and guess what? He wins every freaking race.
Yeah,
I love guys that can back it up. Usain Bolt.
How they rate the world's greatest athlete.
I love this guy.
On the shortest races that they have,
I know.
100-yard dashes beyond. He's 6'5".
Oh,
he takes 43 steps. Everybody else takes 49. They already documented
I
it.
love
So
this
it's
guy.
already cheating to start with. It's like racing a race car against Jimmy. It's come on.
But I love the guy.
I do like the guy. He's got a lot of charisma.
He does.
And he's 6'5" for a sprinter. Come on.
It's one thing to talk the talk, baby.
Yeah.
It's going to walk the walk. And this guy looks in the camera. He's not, being belligerent. He just says, I'm it, man. I'm going to win. Yeah. Get this. Take a picture. I'm winning. I'm winning. I don't know why the rest of these guys are even here. Guess what? Bang! The gun goes off. There he goes.
Then,
I love athletes like that.
Yeah, but then you watch a guy from Ethiopia or Kenya run 26.2 miles. He has to throw in a 4:22 mile, the last one, to win the race. Wow. That's cruel and unusual punishment. I mean, come on. Of course, those people run for their lives every day. I know why they're great distance runners. I mean, they have to outrun the army, the dictators, run for village to village looking for clean water. But anyway, the Olympics got me all jacked up, as you can tell today. I'm all
What other
excited.
topics you got before we wrap this baby up? Anything else?
Not really. After that, I'm excited about football.
I am too.
I'm in the fantasy league, and we have our draft at the Deluxe Restaurant on a Monday.
Nice.
Who would you take if you had the first pick this year?
The first pick in the draft this year will definitely be a guy named Foster, a running back. For some reason, with the shortage of running backs in the NFL now, there's only 9 teams that have a feature running back. All the rest now platoon backs, there's situational backs, there's third down backs. And he was hurt last year, and he missed 3 games. For me, he's not the pick. For me, if I draw the number 1, I will surprise a lot of people.
Peyton Manning.
Last year, a woman had the number 1 pick. And did she take LaShawn McCoy or Ray Rice, or did she take Arian Foster? She jumped up and took Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
And that turned out to be big for her. She scored a ton of points with Aaron Rodgers last year. He was phenomenal.
I think I'd take Rodgers first if I had the choice, even though, like you say, there is a shortage of running backs. But I think there's also a shortage of quarterbacks that you can rely on.
There's 5 now. There used to be 3.
Yep.
It was the big 3. It was Brady. It was Rodgers, and it was
Peyton.
Last year Brees.
Oh yeah,
5,000 plus, or right around 5,000. And Brady. 2 guys have jumped into that this year.
Peyton.
So there's 5 quarterbacks. No, Peyton's
he's
jumped
done.
into about 8.
He-
Stafford for Detroit. They can't run. He'll throw for 5,000 yards this year. And a kid named Cam Newton from down there. He ran for 11 touchdowns.
How about
last
that
year.
kid from Houston? He throws it up and down the field.
Schaub?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm talking. People might pick these people up in the first round.
I got you.
If
Okay.
they don't get the shortage of running back. So after you take Foster, LaShawn McCoy, Ray Rice, you got to jump on Rodgers, you got to jump on Brady, you got to jump on Drew Brees. Then somebody's going to jump up 6th or 7th and say Calvin Johnson, head and shoulders. They say he'll be triple teamed this year. And
it still won't matter.
And they'll say, so what? He's 6'5". He catches with one hand. He jumps up between those 5'10" backs. He brings the ball down. He's an anomaly.
So you're not going to pick You're not going to pick Peyton Manning?
Peyton Manning, I would take him in the 6th round.
What?
Yeah,
in a
I'd stay
10-man
away
league.
from him.
Yeah.
I say a lot depends on your scoring system.
I don't know if he can survive the hits. It's PPR league in our league. You get a point a catch, so that makes some backs. That makes it a little different. You get a point a catch. And
for the running backs that catch balls out of the backfield, that makes a big difference.
It sure does. That's with Ray Rice. He jumps right up there.
You guys are underestimating Peyton.
I don't know. I don't like him in Denver. Denver hasn't been necessarily an offensive juggernaut. Even when they had.
Remember where you heard it.
Yeah.
Just remember.
It's just that. Don't forget about the little brother that takes the beating all the time. He gets no respect. I mean,
especially in fantasy circles, he's not a hot prospect fantasy-wise.
Eli Manning, the Giants lost a big runner last year, Jacobs. They got Bradshaw, and he's injury-prone. They got a kid from Virginia Tech. They picked up 32nd in the draft, last pick in the first round. He's unproven. The Giants may have to pass this year. They picked up Randall, a big receiver. Where'd he come from, Jim? Virginia? Somewhere down in that conference, that Randall kid, 6'3", 6'4".
I'm trying to remember.
I'll tell you what I liked about Eli last year when the Giants. I watched him all year, And Eli took a pounding, and then they were 8-8, whatever they were. They were 8-8, and they got on the streak at the right time. People talk about every time that guy gets sacked or harried or thrown to the ground, he comes back to the huddle. You never see him in anybody's face.
I know.
He never downplays his linemen. He never got hurt. And the referees are allowing him now longer for people hanging on him to say in the grass. They don't call that on him anymore because he goes, no. And I watched the ads with him running with Peyton, and he still respects his brother, and he still.
I heard a great interview with Manning this week, and he said, growing up, all he heard about was how great Peyton was because Peyton was ahead of him. So in high school and junior league and college, Peyton was always setting the bar so high. So Eli said, I stopped trying to be as better or as good or better than Peyton, my brother, and just tried to do the best I could. And I think that helped him that's the other thing about Eli Manning. Being the quarterback of the New York Giants is a tough job.
Yeah.
But he's handled it better than just about anybody I think could possibly have done it.
Yeah.
It wasn't all Super Bowl rings for him right out the gate. I mean,
No.
people question whether he was as good as his brother, whether if he even deserved to be starting in the league, early on. But now 2 Super Bowl rings later, one more than Peyton.
Yeah, and I think that Peyton, being Peyton Manning's younger brother, did help him in the maturation process. I think that he has become what he is. He's a quiet American. He doesn't complain. He takes his hits. He's very seldom is injured. I never knew him to be injured. When I was talking to Tommy once, Tommy says he never has to say anything to him. It's automatic. He's team-driven.
Sure.
His goals are team-driven. He has no attitude problem, and he works around everybody that's there. So I expect the Giants were picked third in their division this year. It was Philadelphia picked above them and Dallas picked above them. I like that. It gives a team incentive. I think the Giants might surprise a few people this year.
They always do.
They might be better than 8-8 in the regular season. They might be 10-6. Tough schedule.
Oh, yeah.
Super Bowl schedule.
Speaking of the Giants, I see the University of Albany, who doesn't have a lot of resources because they got to watch their pennies like a lot of these universities do.
They don't have beds.
They don't have a indoor complex for training camp.
Yeah.
And there was a big story this week about Tommy Coughlin not having a happy moment when they had some lightning and some rain hit the area. They got the people off the field, the players and the coaches and all that, but Tommy made it very clear that you need accommodations for in case there's lightning and rain that hits the Albany area during the period of weeks that they're in Albany. So I see the president wants to try to sit down with his board of trustees to come up with the cash to build something or to renovate something to allow the Giants to practice inside in case they get a rain is rain. They can deal with rain. It's the lightning issue that Coughlin made it very clear that he's not happy with the current situation. So when Tommy's not happy, the University of Albany will be bringing in the construction crews. They don't want to lose. They don't want to lose the Giants.
No. Yeah, with Tommy's a big traditional values guy.
Sure is.
It's family. Well, you got to know him from day one. I've known him from 8th grade. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. He doesn't want to take anything away, but he's sending out a little feeler
message.
Now. And it has a little more clout because Jim said he's got those 2 trophies, one on each side of him, And people should listen because
I would think so.
The president, that you said, is already reacted.
Oh, he's looking into it. He wants. They only have limited resources.
Yeah.
And they can't, write blank checks but they definitely have to do something, and they got to do it fairly quick because Tommy's not happy with the prospect of losing. Oh, I know what it is. The new NFL contract only allows a certain number of days to train, unlike the previous contract. So they're being more player-friendly in this new contract. And Coughlin said basically in a few words that we cannot lose this time in case they get hit with a lightning storm, which makes a lot of sense if you think about it. So
it sure does.
University of Albany, no doubt, you might be seeing a new complex before next year.
If we're close to the end, I would just like to say I haven't done the good guy, bad guy comment in a long time.
Go ahead.
And I really don't have any bad guys, but the good guy comment was done when training camp started and Eli Manning got in front of a microphone in New York, and he said, "Hey, I'm the 3rd most popular quarterback in New York."
Oh, yeah,
Tebow, Sanchez. He says, "Hey, I'm used to that. I'm the 3rd most popular quarterback in my family, Archie, Peyton, and Eli." So if a guy ever had incentives to go out and prove himself every year,
it's him.
I say, go Eli Manning, go Giants.
Hey, by the way, as we get ready to wrap this show up, we've enjoyed you. We thank Bob Ohmann for calling in from the Carolinas, the owner, along with his wife Leslie of the Newark Pilots. By the way, we're working on additional guests to come into our show. We're always looking for people to come in and talk. Crystal Jensen, the fine, very, very excellent teacher and also an excellent coach. She will be in. She's the softball and volleyball coach for the Waterloo team, and she will be in here to talk next Wednesday, the 22nd. We'll have Crystal Jensen to come in here and get peppered with questions from myself and Paul. Nobody nice to Crystal. We're also trying to line up Britney Spears and Madonna. I mean, seriously, trying to get a hold of Nicole there, Miss Zumba of the area, is impossible. I've been going back and forth with her on emails. The last time she come back to us, I wanted to get her in and show some video of Zumba because I know Paul Hellstrom is involved in Zumba classes 4 times a week, and it's a great thing that I see on TV all the time. And we're trying to get Nicole in here because she's well known as one of the fantastic instructors, Jim. So we're trying to get her in. We're working on it. We've yet to hear back from her. We've heard back from her. We just haven't got a date yet. So, again, if you have checking us out, we're trying to get a hold of Miners Academy and talk about their new improvements.
A new athletic field there.
Jim's going to talk to Tony Farrar to try to arrange that. Talk about the new complex. It's a different Brock field than we've ever been used to seeing.
Sure is.
So a lot of things we have on our back burner, we're trying to move them to the front burner. If you have an interest in coming on our show via phone, as you heard this morning, we don't need you to be here live. We'd like to have you here live. But if you can't come here live, we'll talk to you via the phone. If you would like to come in and talk about a charity event, some special event that you want to prep up, there's a sport maybe we're not talking about, archery, bowling, table tennis, you name it, we'll talk to you about it.
Send an email to dogandpolly@fingerlakes1.com.
Again, we open up, this is a green carpet here, the red carpet service at Jim and Santa Crope's fingerlakes1.com. Again, you're invited to be a part of the show. You don't have to come to the studios and get nervous in front of cameras like you see now. We can talk to you on the phone if you're too nerve-wracking, okay?
Hey, dogandpolly@fingerlakes1.com, DOGANDPAULY@fingerlakes1.com.
I'm the dog, and that's Pauly. Well, Paul, as usual, good to have you back, buddy.
Thank you, Harold. Good to be back.
It's good to be back, and we certainly we wish everybody over in Clyde a great night. I remember emceeing years ago, my God, 25, 30 years ago. I used to be the master of ceremonies for the Miss Clyde contest in the main square of Clyde, New York, and I'll bet they're getting that prepped up for that big showcase tonight as the young ladies vie for Miss Clyde 2012. I had the chance to do that for 3 or 4 years. That was a lot of fun. So good luck to all the people in Clyde tonight because it is your night, folks, August 15th, and the fireworks will be seen across those bridges. Fantastic job. Take care, everybody. As again, we thank you for joining the Dog and Pauly Show. Join yours truly for Weber on Sports on Monday morning at 9:30 when I will nail everything that's moving. And again, continue to check out fingerlakes1.com for upcoming broadcasts. Take care, everybody. That is the Dog and
Pauly Show.
Signing off.